Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, paddle addicts, to the Off Court Podcast, the paddle podcast covering all your paddle needs.
There we go.
We are your hosts. I have Connor here with me, as always.
What's up?
And I'm Hugh. And today we will be reviewing the last tournament of the Premier Padel Tour, the Buenos Aires P1.
Absolute banger.
What?
Absolute banger of a tournament.
A shit show.
Yeah. Literal shit show.
Yeah. Well, actually, we'll get into everything now, but just to sum up, I guess, as again, another, I think, big mistake, lack of professionalism / organization by Premier Padel. We'll break everything down to see exactly what happened. I feel like that in turn affected the actual paddle quality, and left us with a bit of a bittersweet taste, right?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of expectations because it is kind of one of the homes of paddle, really. We're in Argentina, in Buenos Aires.
They set a record at the
had
semis.
16,000 people attend, but there was a few too many issues that kind of created a ripple effect, made us a little bit grumpy.
Yeah.
Trying to write our little brief for this episode, and we're like, bloody hell, man, this tournament was very strange. But we're gonna dive into that. But normally what we do, we have our little chat at the beginning,
icebreaker.
Yes, if you don't want to listen to that, you can always skip ahead. But yeah, Hugh, tell me what's going on. How's everything with you? You're playing paddle this morning.
I had an early game today, right before coming here, 7 a.m. Played with two of the people that I usually play with. Yeah. Partner that I've been playing with quite a bit. Nico, shout out to Nico. I don't know if he listens. He follows us, Nico? Definitely.
Okay.
But sick. This dude from Madrid, and we play quite well together, I think. Sometimes, we just play against people who are usually quite good, so it's difficult. But
you got
lost,
your challenge,
unfortunately. But it was still a good game, and I'm learning to deal with frustration a lot more. I feel
you got anger issues?
A bit, yeah. When it comes to paddle, I do, and because I don't play with you. You've been on the receiving end a few times
with our friends, and emphasis on our friends. And I'm like, fucking hell, he's grilling me right now,
and
dude.
I do get a bit. I'm a bit LeBronish in that sense.
Sure, yeah, that's a great quality to have, dude.
A bit Navarro.
What did we call him last episode? The kid that no one wants to play with in the playground.
In the playground, yeah. Kind of that. But I'm learning to deal with it, and
what are you doing? Deep breaths?
No, just learning to enjoy the game, and
like a few years into playing paddle, finally learning how to enjoy paddle.
Just enjoy, even if you lose, and just kind of taking the pressure off of it.
I think that's especially, I never played tennis or anything, but, with the way this game's scored, it really can put you on your ass sometimes.
Very frustrating. It can be very frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. And to learn to win or lose with a smile on your face, as long as you're playing paddle, is easier said than done, that's for sure. We all like to win, but there was something a while ago I had for myself where I felt too annoyed after losing a game, and I was like, okay, dude, let's have a chat. Let's have a one-on-one with myself.
It's supposed to be fun,
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. And when you lose and you're playing, good level paddle, you still, that it's not a complete waste, right? Even though you don't walk away with the dub, you sort of become a better player, I think.
And no one learned anything ever from success.
Exactly.
All the lessons are learned from failure.
Who said that?
I don't know.
Original quote.
It's not original, but I guess it's like a saying.
Dude,
you learn everything from failure.
We're wise bros, dude. And we can figure it out.
Fail more, fail better.
Dude, wow, you're whipping out. You got to put that on a t-shirt or something like that. No, that's fantastic.
What about you? How's it going in the paddle world?
It's good. Kind of touching on what I was saying, I just had sort of our first loss with this new guy I'm playing with. Well, I'm saying new guy. He's Hugh's roommate. So he knows him very well. But me and Dan, we took our first L, which is totally chill. Mm-hmm. Playing against actual good level paddle. I think we got a little bit lucky in the Playtomic world. Got matched up with some sort of newer players. Mm-hmm. I had a really scary, angry guy shout at me. Yeah. Which, gosh, man, I don't know if anyone else has had that experience, but dude, long story short, bad smash from me. I'll take that. was going straight out, obviously hits him in the chest. And it just also happens to be like he looks like a fucking WWE wrestler. Doesn't have the physique of a paddle player, I'll be honest. He looked like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh shit, the one guy that I piss off on the paddle court is just like, looks like he can eat me basically. and yeah, he was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, you're like angry. That's insane.
Yeah.
And a few more words were exchanged, trying to keep it civil.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely like ruins the fun vibes a little bit when someone's like overly pissed off, right?
It is what it is, man.
Dude,
like,
you got hit in a game of paddle by the ball. Okay, fair enough, bad shot. Surely this is a thing that like happens often.
Yeah.
Like it's not like out of the ordinary. And I wasn't like purposely aiming for him. Trust me.
Yeah.
I was trying to get that ball to hit the ground. I wasn't trying to hit your head, man. But yeah, dude, it happens. Kind of awkward. I guess these are just one of these like platonic experiences that we get. I really want to know if it's just London, if it's just like we're in.
I think it just
thing.
Depends on the person you
play with.
You find, yeah.
And it happens, but you know what? We ended up winning the game anyway, so I don't really care that much. But yeah, very very interesting. He did say sorry. I'll say that at the end. He kind of
which is
kind of after the heat of the moment, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
He did say sorry. So, I mean, as long as you can go say sorry at the end of it, I think telling someone...
We can all have our, like, fiery moments.
Yeah, exactly.
It
what
still doesn't excuse, like, I don't think that should be...
I mean, at the end of the day, we're, like, grown adults, playing
and
paddle.
it's, like, playing paddle for, like, fun.
For casual...
Like, at a very amateur level.
I mean, we've all seen those videos of, like, guys, like, fighting on the paddle court, and it's just, like, absolutely ridiculous.
But it's like the five-a-sides that you play on, like, a Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
When I played seven-a-side back home before moving to London. And, dude, those are the most heated games, because, like, that's people just go there to, like...
Get their anger out.
Lash out and just, like, try and get in a fight because they're... angry about their life.
I mean, let us know as well. Have you guys ever been targeted on the paddle court?
Yeah, if you've had like some violent or close to violent moments on the court with your opponents or partners.
It's definitely happened, that's for sure. It can bring the nasties out in some people. So that's definitely a new one for me. Mm-hmm. But it happens every now and then, and we can't do much for it. So yeah, after playing, that game, it is what it is. We move on, and yeah, we can't
You'll
really complain about it.
Like
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's just the nature of an app like that.
Yeah.
But look, we have the Buenos Aires P1 that just happened. A lot of excitement building up for it.
Yeah.
As I said, we're in the home of paddle, one of the homes of paddle.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a stinker. We're trying our best not to be too negative, I guess. But Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that? Like, the quarterfinals were happening, then they got postponed. All of a sudden, we see like guys working on the back glass of the court, right? Just to find out that the court wasn't built correctly.
So I think we should explain exactly what happened and how it works, right?
Go for it.
So the issue was, if I'm not mistaken, there was a problem with the courts themselves, like the way they were built.
Yeah.
Players were complaining that the gap between the side glass and the back glass was too big.
Right.
Making it dangerous if you're
running
late to a ball, or if you're trying to get against the glass and you crash against the back wall, which happens a few times, when the
it's just like
glass
shaking and
wobbles,
everything. Yeah.
It could be dangerous, and if that breaks, it's a shit show, and it could lead to a very serious injury maybe, or whatever.
I mean, I'm
right?
laughing now. I've seen a few videos where people just go through the glass, and I'm like,
yeah. So that maybe could happen. So basically, they had to remake the courts, right?
Yeah.
So, just in case you guys don't know, the way it works is Premier Padel is the sort of umbrella company that's
the league,
that sponsors the tour, that puts the money in for the tour, everything, right? Premier Padel subcontracts every tournament a promoter.
Yeah.
So, let's say for this Buenos Aires P1, they contact a promoter and they're like, you're in charge of organizing this entire thing. Here's the money.
Yeah.
Here's your budget, and like do with it what you want, right?
Find us a space, build us a court,
find us a venue, find us like staff for the thing, and then the whole point of it being that the promoter, hopefully, if they're good, they will make money because this is their own sort of like mini business, right? They spend the money hoping that if they do a good job and there's a big crowd turnout and everyone's happy, that they will get, the investment back and hopefully make money.
They get paid for organizing the event.
Exactly.
Simples, right?
Simples, yeah. But I think maybe some people didn't know that Premier Padel, they thought that maybe the company itself organized it. But it's like, it's sort of some subcontracted. So this promoter, I don't know who they are, basically got like some pretty shitty like company to build.
Dude, I want to know the guy that was like, perfect, we're ready to go, guys. Like, there we go.
Exactly. Just to build those courts. Usually the go-to is Mejor Set.
Yes.
And they make like really high quality courts. That's what most.
Did you see the statement that they came out with?
No, I didn't.
So they were like, it's not us. This one was not us, guys. They put a statement out being like, that court was not built by us.
We do not want to lose business.
Just letting you guys know. That's,
And I think, I'm not sure I don't know what the bad quality courts were, but then basically they had to rebuild them. I don't know if they changed company. Or maybe they went to.
It looked like they put sellotape on.
Yeah, right. They had like these like stitches on the back glass. Yeah, it was weird.
Holy shit!
But basically, the whole point being they had to rebuild the courts.
Yeah.
So I mean,
which eventually went on to delaying. Luckily they were able to complete the women's quarterfinals.
Yeah.
They played the last two games privately. So a lot of the people who bought tickets, unfortunately, couldn't like even attend to watch. They did resolve that by rescheduling the games the next day, allowing the people who had the tickets for quarterfinals to go and use their ticket, but then they would have to leave to
they had to empty the state. That's just such. I mean, what do you make of this? Like, what's your?
I think this is now the third tournament with organization issues. I get it. Sometimes it's weather. Sometimes it's. I mean, the past few times in Riyadh it was weather, right? The same in Santiago, and I think let's not forget our two like tournaments with boycott sort of energy, right? It's pretty disappointing, I'll be honest. I'm glad that we did get all of our games. I think genuinely it's more annoying that if we don't even get a finals. So,
or that it has to like be split in between two finalists.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice as well because I understand that it is kind of a newer-ish sport, right? They're figuring out their kinks. They're realizing, okay, maybe let's not work with these people again or whatsoever. But at the end of the day, when you have like 16,000 people attend an event, who the energy from the crowd was there. It was great to see.
Yeah, we'll talk about it now because I want to hear your take on that as well.
Like, but it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth. Yeah. And like, it's one of these things where obviously when you're watching the stream, everyone kind of just pretends like that's not happening.
Yeah.
The stream length for the semifinals / quarterfinals was 17 hours long, right? Because they had to put all of these games on the same day.
Yeah.
Which led to players playing 2 games in one day, which, believe it or not, it doesn't sound that bad, but we saw from Galán, right, who dropped out of his semi-final game, due to, I don't know, I think he had an illness or something. Seems like there was a flu going around or something like that. But it kind of changes the shape and the feeling and the energy of the whole tournament, basically.
Yeah,
and we feel that as well. I don't know if that's something that you guys have felt. So I was pretty disappointed. Yeah, we got a really weird finals. Yeah. I mean, even for the women's as well. Yeah. Like, okay, it was like the usual suspects, but pretty lackluster tournament in my opinion.
Yeah, not very exciting. Yeah.
No, right? Like it was just weird vibes. I'll be honest.
And let's not forget that whoever this promoter is, apart from the court problems, they decided to. The venue was like right next to this like sewage river thing. So like
you were telling me about this.
You heard Coello Tapia in the breaks with the coach just being like, does it smell like shit in here? And they're like, yeah, it's pretty bad. So there's like 16,000 people with the players. Imagine
Jesus
playing
Christ.
like a P1 and smelling like sewage.
Yeah, raw
water.
Sewage. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
It's just like everything just seems
I didn't
lazy.
actually hear that. What the hell? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Lazy and poor, and it was also, I mean, this has nothing to do with it, but like add on top the fact that it was pretty cold in Buenos Aires now, which means a very slow court. Quite a slow court.
Which wasn't the worst thing ever, to be honest.
Which wasn't the worst thing ever, but if you make slower courts are a lot more demanding physically for players, right?
Yeah.
Just because it's the back and forth, it's the explosiveness, and it's also the length of the games, right? At each point, it's just generally longer, and average rallies per point are generally longer, right? If you're playing like 3 sets like, and then
in a mist of shit.
3 hours later, you've got to play another possibly 3.
Yeah.
And you play 5 sets in one day in those conditions.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, man.
It's unrealistic, and it takes away the whole competitive edge of it, right? You know what I mean? I understand, for the men's that, playing back-to-back games, even though it was a bit of they had a break, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like it totally takes away the impact of the whole tournament.
And I think it just delegitimizes the sport a little bit. As you said, I get it. It's like it's a new sport, whatever. They're still learning, but come on, man.
Yeah,
like,
I'm trying to be soft, but from an entertainment point of view, it was a bit of a force.
It's just these things can't happen. Like, you can't be doing this to the athletes, to the fans. So many disappointed fans that probably got their schedules fucked with, because a lot of people like flying from far away,
think about that.
trying to and then all of a sudden I don't know, it seems lazy, unprofessional, and just not.
Yeah, you think like the one thing they could get down to the T is just setting up a paddle tournament, right? Instead of like, I get it if it's raining and you schedule an outdoor tournament,
Fair enough,
sure,
whatever.
But you wouldn't really see this in like many other sports, I'd say, where it's the one center court of the tournament. Surely there has to be like due diligence checks and everything like that.
Yeah.
Apparently not, and they had to like replace or fix the lining in the glass or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just like led to a bit of a sort of delayed effect on the rest of the tournament, which is kind of the overall feeling, right? Like kind of last minute, let's sellotape this up, wrap it up in a bow
so that we can play
and give everyone a good thumbs up.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean? So we also just while we're on it as well, I don't know for those watching through Red Bull TV as well. Gosh, I feel like we're complaining a lot, but
I mean, but
they're
it's not
giving us the things to complain about. Yeah. But also I saw some people complaining about it online. If you're not watching through Red Bull TV, you probably didn't have this experience. Yeah. But the transmission, the lag, it goes from like 240p. I thought it was my bad Wi-Fi.
I kept changing between Wi-Fi and data, being like,
it's like, what's going on?
And it just kept freezing.
And no, that's how it was streamed and uploaded, basically. Yeah. And I was like, okay, you got bad cords, you got a bad stream. You're making this very difficult to actually like consume this content. And, it's not the first time. People were comparing this to possibly one of the worst tournaments that had like a lot of technical issues.
Yeah.
And I can't help think about Santiago with the wind. I know it's weather, but like cutting to that camera that's
shaky camera.
It looks like they put a GoPro on a kite and we're filming like that, and it was just like absolutely unwatchable. Yeah. This one, it sucked. There was so many times where it's like a winning point and they're going for the smash or whatever,
and you just see it just freezes, freeze frame. Yeah.
So that's just to add on our little list of complaints and just bad vibes of the tournament, which is a shame as well because it was a special tournament. Yeah. Don't forget.
I will counter that exactly with, I think we just have to give a notable mention to the crowd. The turnout and the energy, man.
Dude, 16,000 people is crazy.
It was crazy. And I think it's just an Argentinian thing when it comes to sports that country, and when it comes to supporting their athletes, their teams.
True.
It's crazy. They go nuts.
They do go nuts.
Whether it's paddle or football or tennis or whatever, even basketball, whatever it is, they're there with the flags, screaming, cheering on, giving like loads of energy.
Yeah. So, they made the most of it, right? Yeah. And it wasn't like, people were just like, let's leave this behind and forget about it. That's how maybe some of the fans feel when they organize a tournament like this. But yeah, you got to give it to them. They were there. The energy was there. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the best tournament for like the Argentinian players. I do know Tapia went on to win the finals, but I did feel really bad for Delphi Brea as well, who had a really bad sort of semifinals. Got knocked out by Gonzalez and Fernandez again. Mm-hmm. And especially I think she's from that specific area where the tournament was hosted as well. She wasn't like from another town, so she's like a local player there. And you could see, I saw her Instagram post as well after, and she was just very disappointed that she had to watch the finals instead of playing them.
Yeah, I mean, last year she had like all her friends there.
Yeah,
like
her family.
There was like 25 people.
Yeah.
From her close circle there watching her last year, which she won it last year.
Right. Okay.
I think. I'm not sure. Maybe
with Bea.
With Bea, maybe.
We'll see. We'll fact check that. Yeah. But yeah, pretty disappointing. Obviously, as well for Chingotto as well, not making it to the finals as well. Even though, if they could have made it to the finals going up against Paquito Bergamini, we'll talk about the men's finals as well, but it was an absolute slaughter fest.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was that fun to watch, I'll be honest. But look,
No.
we've got our little list here of things that we want to touch on. Give you guys a little rundown, little highlights of, what went down. We've kind of done most of our complaining on the more.
Let us know your rants in the comments as well, and your thoughts on the shit show.
Were you guys like us and
of Buenos Aires P1?
Slightly disappointed.
Yeah. And how do you think that affects the sport, the legitness of the sport?
And what was the damage control like? Do you think they did a good recovery? I think considering we got pretty much all the games in,
I think
that's fine, I guess. But yeah, definitely 2 times a day. Playing 2 games a day is just it doesn't work necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But look,
let's get into the I guess
our little
highlights,
hit list.
Hit list.
We'll keep it fast paced. That's for sure.
Yeah. So we've got some of the fan favorites. A pairing that's been making waves in the paddle world.
Oh yeah,
Carberger getting knocked out in round 16.
Yes.
By John Sanz and Jerónimo González.
Yeah.
6-1, 6-4, pretty easy 2 sets. An unexpected result. I think you would expect.
It seems like Cardona and Augsburger's biggest enemy is slow courts. Basically, they struggle so much when they can't play their usual aggressive tactics.
And
right.
I think Momo and John Sanz, what they did really well was just not letting them play their game. Usually,
I mean that scoreline says everything, man. Like it's 6-1, 6-4.
What they did really well, and they did really well throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah.
John Sanz and Momo González making it to semis like out of nowhere, where they haven't been playing amazing this year since they joined up. They gave a really good performance. What they do really well is what I noticed in this tournament is their lobs.
Yeah, they're really incredible.
They're really good at lobbing, deep lobs. They picked on Cardona for the lobs, knowing that Augsburger could hurt them with the smash.
He would eat them up.
And being at a slow court, they forced Cardona to play an awkward, uncomfortable bandeja from the back line, not allowing them to give that power.
I mean, look, they got absolutely dominated, right? Which, it's nice to see Momo and Sanz also, get some of the limelight. I think they're a great pairing as well. Mm-hmm. Maybe they haven't made like the biggest name for themselves this year.
But I mean, they knocked out Carberger. We're not going to talk about it now, but also like Stupa Lebrón. They knocked out the number 3 seeds.
True, that is insane, actually.
Yeah. But before that, also Coqui Yanguas knocked out in round 16 by Jofre and Arroyo.
Very unexpected.
7-6, 2-6, 4-6. A shame. A shame, as they should have won it. And Coqui and Yanguas being, for me, one of my favorite pairings as a pair and also individually as players. I think they're awesome, and I really like their style. But it just felt like, I don't know what you thought, but it felt like Coqui Yanguas were playing very conservatively. They were playing really soft.
Yeah.
Jofre and Arroyo were like taking a lot more chances, giving a lot more power and spin to those overheads. And Arroyo, which I don't think he's a really good player in my opinion.
Hot take.
I don't think he's that great, but he did play a good match, and he kind of killed them a little bit with the smashes.
I mean, it's great to see. I mean, as a pairing, Jofre and Arroyo, like you don't really get to see them,
Coqui
go that far. Yeah, exactly.
It was especially in a slow court as well.
It was one for the underdogs then for this tournament. But I'll be honest, I only watched the highlights of it, so I didn't get that full game immersion.
I watched the whole thing, and it just felt like I needed a bit more oomph from Coqui and Yanguas. I don't know. What do you make of this? What do you make of this pairing? What do you think? Coqui Yanguas? Are they gonna? They started off really well, but the past couple tournaments they've been.
I think they need a little bit more time. I'll take them. I'll take the mature answer here instead of putting them on the chopping block already. Let's give them a little bit more time.
Galán Yanguas.
Tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. We could come with the craziest predictions, but oh my gosh! First of all, I don't think Yanguas would ever get called up by Galán as well. So. I just don't see it happening, man. I don't think it's worth it. I think Galán can stick with Chingotto. I've been swayed now a little bit. If
you're gonna go to Yanguas, might as well keep Chingotto.
I mean, I was gonna say the last couple tournaments. You kind of saw it here a little bit, but the previous tournament in Asunción, Chingotto was also like on fire. So you know what, he kind of silenced a lot of the angry paddle fans that were kind of hating on Chingotto not supporting Galán, which is almost an exhausted conversation a little bit at the beginning of this year. But yeah, no way. I don't think Yanguas would ever get called up by Galán, especially right now.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's a bit shaky, but we're not going to make any crazy predictions.
It was a weird tournament as well. So I mean, this was early on in round 16.
Yeah.
It's bad getting knocked out in round 16. I'll give you that, especially to Jofre and Arroyo. But it happens, man. 3 sets, and it is what it is. An underdog win. But yeah, I kind of want to.
What other highlights do we have?
I want to talk about Stupa Lebrón getting knocked out. I watched. Yeah, it was that last set, that third set, where I was like, "What the fuck am I watching right now?" It was they were 4-1 up, LeBron and Stupa, and then they went all the way to tiebreak. Which I don't know what went wrong. I think
I do.
What happened?
I think this is very like, it was a sort of more of a very like short space, like timed thing.
Yeah.
I feel like LeBron threw the game at the end. He was playing like a beast up until the end. They could have taken it 6-4.
Yeah.
The last set. He did a couple smashes leading up to that were really good, and that really, he was like hyping himself up.
Yeah.
And then he just went for a couple more from like behind the line.
What is going on behind LeBron's eyes, and what's going on in his head which makes him drop off? If you compare it to his attitude a little bit to the previous tournament as well, where, people, felt like a little bit, he was slapping Stupa Lebrón around a little bit, Stupa around a little bit. And, in this tournament, he seemed much more docile and quiet, right?
Because I think Stupa stepped up and he was actually playing well and putting in the effort. And I think LeBron saw that, so there was no issue with that.
Right.
But I think it really came down to LeBron did a couple bad smashes at the end that could have given them a match point.
Yeah. And
from there, it was just 5-5, 6-5, 6-6, and then the tiebreak. It was just, it can go one of both ways. And Momo and Sanz took it. But it was, for me, it was a LeBron issue at the end, because it was a good equal, like 6-3, 3-6. Again, LeBron sort of dominating the offensive side of the game from the forehand, which is a bit strange. We know that he's one of those, different kind of forehands. He's like a Yanguas Cardona style kind of. He's not old school forehand, right? And I mean, LeBron plays incredible paddle. He's super intelligent. He's got like so many shots on his
I do find that there's like, it doesn't happen that often, but there is like communication errors between LeBron and Stupa. Depending on where that ball lands, if it just kind of goes obviously in the middle between Stupa and LeBron, there's a couple of times where LeBron wants it. Really,
LeBron just wants it. Yeah.
It should have been Stupa's ball really, because it's on his forehand, but you can see them both sort of like not fully commit to the situation, and they end up losing the point. And they're both hungry for it, and sometimes they do laugh about it after, and they're just like, okay, let's stop being idiots. But yeah, there are moments where LeBron's sort of dominance overrides a little bit, and he shouldn't necessarily be picking up these balls that are going more towards Stupa anyway. And
I think again in this game we saw, I felt frustrated because I saw Stupa Lebrón and I was like shouting at the screen, just like, dude, just hit it, just be more aggressive. Like you could see Momo and John Sanz hitting those overheads. They both have pretty good overheads, hitting them with like spin and speed and hitting these like bullets that are a lot harder to defend. LeBron's, I just hate LeBron's bandeja and b-board. I think he's got so many other good qualities, but in terms of like when he gets that overhead and he always hits it like in an awkward way, or like
you think hits it quite soft,
or I don't know. I just think maybe it's not his strength, and I think he grew up, he came up in the paddle world and ended up being number one,
right?
By smashing, he had at one point the best smash in the world by far when he was coming up with Galán and Paquito, And maybe he just left those other overheads a bit on the side, and now I think it's coming back to bite him in the ass a little bit,
and he's neglected it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
years.
but then he pushes the net incredibly. He finds angles. He's really good at the net as well.
Yeah,
Chiquita is like, as I said, I think the best thing about LeBron is his intelligence. His paddle IQ, I think, is one of the best in the entire tour. But yeah, and then Stupa, good Rulo and good Bibodas on, at the back corner. But yeah, I felt like, guys, come on, you need to just give it a
little bit more.
Yeah,
I mean, and they definitely didn't, which led to them getting knocked out. Plus another Argentinian player not making it to any further in the rounds.
Yeah,
but
and it does make me wonder a little bit. Stupa Lebrons makes me wonder about their future as a pairing.
It seems like at the beginning of the year was so solid for them, and then now,
I mean, it's so solid.
Only gets you so far.
But no, I mean, they won that tournament. We're not going to count because it was a boycott tournament.
Yeah.
And then they got to, I think they got to what? It was the Riyadh final. I think they got. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I'm pretty sure it was the final. Yeah, against Coello Tapia.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, they haven't been. Santiago was pretty good, but then they had to retire.
Fuck.
It hasn't been amazing.
Yeah.
I was expecting Stupa Lebrón to be like one more, to be like that contender for that number 2 spot.
Well, to
put
the pressure on Chingalan.
Put the pressure on Chingalan. Have one more, have a number 3 pairing that was gonna stir shit up a little bit.
It's true.
But so far,
yeah. Also, post-injury illness from Stupa as well, coming back to that tournament last week. Yeah. Going into this tournament, some small improvements, but yeah, it was.
But you're a professional athlete, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on,
there's so many ill players and players dropping out of this.
Oh, my tummy hurts.
Yeah, what is happening? What is happening? I had to play 2 games of paddle today. What, dude? Come on, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of injuries as well that go on alongside all of these other, poor organization things. So yeah, it is. We're kind of being drip fed the entertainment sometimes, but. You know what? I don't think they're going to break up anytime soon. That's for sure. Don't know who they would pair up with as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be pretty interesting. Give them a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
This tournament was definitely in Stupa's favor in terms of who performed better. But, it can flip-flop like that, basically. If you look at last week as well, where Stupa didn't show up. He did have a little 50-day break of not playing a tournament or playing professional paddle. But, it is what it is. And they didn't get there. We also have one more little highlight that, a match that I really enjoyed watching, and a player that I'm also, becoming really, interested in as well. I think she's fantastic. The youngest player in the circuit, Martina Calvo, now playing with Arroyo as well.
Child,
the Viking.
like a literal child.
She's handling the pressure. And I just think it was a very interesting matchup because they played against, this is in the quarterfinals, they were playing against Arroyo and Ostero. And I feel like Ostero kind of had that little bit of a legacy of last season being this really young player. I'm not taking anything away from her. Fantastic player still, and she's just got so much more room to grow. But yeah, it is kind of scary just seeing these even more younger players now pop up in the Premier Padel circuit, and they're now she's 16 and she's absolutely killing it. And Martina Calvo, she plays with her heart basically. I think at these moments when she's playing here at this level, for genuinely the first time in her professional career, are huge moments for her that, gosh, at that age as well, must feel so raw and intense, and she can manage it. I think that final scoreline was they lost the first set 2-6, but then they took the second one 6-3, and then took the third one 6-4 to take home the dub. And it was absolutely insane, the amount of saves.
To get to semis.
Yeah, exactly.
At 16 years old at P1 is massive.
Let's not forget, Estero's incredible young protege as well, but Arroyo is also just insane. Probably has one of the best bajadas, in the women's circuit.
the two. There was two Jedis.
Yeah,
Jedis
exactly.
and apprentice kind of thing.
It was like that, you know what I mean? And not that I don't think Estero's sweating about it, that she has now she being one of the youngest, sort of most anticipated players. And then all of a sudden there's a new update and Martina Calvo just got dropped and she's just an absolute animal as well. So, you know what? That was a really dope game.
And she's the one that Agonza told us to watch out for,
literally.
At the beginning of the season before she was already making waves.
This was
but
back
especially
in January.
Yeah, but in like gold
started.
and platinum FIPs,
Yeah.
and then she sort of came up in the ranks and finally.
No, it is pretty sick that we're talking about her now because at the beginning when we had Gonzo on, he was like, "Do you guys know Martina Calvo?" And we were like,
"No,
no, she hasn't hit our radar yet." And now, after
another
games like
another
this,
Babolat player as well.
Yeah, see, they know how to pick him, man. That's for sure. But just an incredible game. Obviously, they didn't make it through the semifinals, but
still, I think that's a win. I think that's a dub.
It is still a win, And I think out of like all of those sort of tournament highlights, that we've sort of pushed all of the bad vibes to the side. These are those were kind of the silver linings of the tournament, basically. Kind of interesting. Still got that sour taste in our mouth, but we try to push it to the side and forget about it because, through the road towards the finals, we actually got, probably one of the worst finals that I've watched this season. I don't know what you think. Yeah. Because even though all the women's games didn't get delayed and they, could play them, accordingly, I was a bit more excited for...
it was an accidental final. If things hadn't happened the way they did...
Are you talking about the women's or the men's?
I'm talking about the men's.
Are you talking about the women's?
Oh, women's. Okay, let's do women's first.
Let's do women's first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I always, if you compared... we're having trouble with our stats department as well. But if you compare all of Sanchez, Jose Maria games versus Fernandez and Gonzalez, I know they're a new pairing. They've definitely struggled going up against the now the number ones again. And that's kind of what my stomach feeling had a little bit. I just know yesterday from when Fernandez and Gonzalez took out Bria and Trey again, I had a good feeling that, okay, we're going to get a proper final.
Yeah.
We're going to get, a good level match. Bea Gonzalez was insane in the semifinals as well against Brea and Triai. Like, seriously, like she was on absolute fire defensively, but also, offensively too. So, I have to give her flowers for that. But goddamn, Claudia Fernandez didn't show up.
Did not show up at the final.
It was so disappointing. And look, the scoreline is 6-2, 6-2. Also the same scoreline for the men's final as well.
Which is a which is kind of like a walkover.
You know what I mean? The men's final was Coello Tapia versus Paquito Bergamini, right? That level gap is giant. But if you take that, I know it's just one game. It doesn't really reflect, their entire like rivalry. But Sanchez, Jose Maria, Fernandez, Gonzalez, 6-2, 6-2, absolute lackluster performance.
Shouldn't be that easy.
Hugh's voice is squeaking because it was the
shouldn't
be that
shouldn't be that easy.
No,
even though you would expect Sanchez and Jose Maria to take it.
Dude, Jose Maria was sick, dude. She was sick on the court playing in her
little fleece.
In her layers, man. It looked like she got a new cod skin, honestly, dude. She had like a scarf on in the quarterfinals, and I was like, how are you not dying in this? And she also was just playing with the flu. We saw how emotional the win was for Jose Maria specifically as well. She's Spanish, but I think, like a lot of these other players, they grew up training in Argentina and everything like that. So it does become a home for them as well.
Yeah. And it's an important tournament.
Yeah, and to see the tears and the emotion behind the win for Jose Maria was just amazing, man.
Reclaiming that number one spot again.
Yeah, which I don't know how I feel about that because it's kind of silly a little bit now.
Silly. It is silly. I don't think she was crying because of that, being I'm number one again. Because
I think just that's why it's such a shame, man, because all of these organization issues really took away how special of an event this could have been. Yeah. Really, it could have been a very magical, which it was, a historic record number breaking. Did I say that in the right order? Record number breaking? Record breaking numbers?
Record breaking numbers, yeah.
My dyslexia is kicking in a little bit. That huge audience, the atmosphere was there. But yeah, it really kind of took it away from a little from the audience perspective at least.
And I think Jose Maria as well was like, it's probably like built up emotion, like, she was sick, she wasn't feeling great, and then like sort of, I guess, getting that win. It's also like it mixed with how you're feeling as well.
Oh my gosh,
So like it just makes it emotional, being like, fuck, it's
over.
It's kind of over, and we've done it, and and they didn't come from the best streak. I mean, they have been playing. It's not that they've been playing terribly, but the number ones have been struggling, especially against Triai and Brea. Yeah. So yeah.
Which is interesting. Maybe I don't have the answers for it, but what is going on with Triai and Brea?
I think I don't know if this is the answer to it, but I think I know that their coach
Yes.
has left the team.
Really? What? Breaking news?
Problems with Gemma, apparently.
Really?
Like communication problems. Apparently Gemma is quite
intense.
I think, she can be intense, and a lot of people shit on her.
I saw.
They're calling her, like the LeBron
exactly.
Yeah.
I did see that, which I don't know how true that is, but
and the coach just said, I've just stepped away because of
No way. Wait, how long ago was this?
Not just right after
the last
Asunción.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that kind of gives a little bit of like indication, right, on maybe their performance
and
level.
I think maybe Delphi also kind of feels that.
No
Delphi
way.
being such a sweetheart, and maybe it's great to have such a great player as Gemma.
Yeah,
besides you, obviously.
But to see what she's actually like, I mean, I don't understand why she gets so much hate. This is why I need that, like, we need that breakthrough to English as well to get, like, the real scoop and feeling for it. Because
exactly.
I saw a lot of people last week when Gemma, kind of claimed her number one spot. Her statement that she made was kind of loosely, like, I don't want to paraphrase too much, but it was like, okay, becoming number one is kind of irrelevant to me right now. Which is so not true. Like, surely that's like on your mind right now.
That's like the biggest goal.
She wanted to put focus on the winning together with Delphi, basically.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's kind of sweet, but
it's kind of humble as well. Yeah.
The way it translated and the way maybe it, it's not the perfect emotional translation as well that came off it, but it was like, all right, dude.
I guess if you come up as number one with your partner side by side, that is a lot.
That's the
bigger, like the Golden Boys or Sanchez Jose Maria.
Yeah.
But you being number one and kind of like your partner still being number 4 or 5.
She's 5.
She's 5?
Yeah.
Being number 5, I guess it was just like a sort of fair play, respect, sort of humbleness as well, being like, yeah, great, thank you so much. I love being number one, but I'm in a team and I don't win alone. So, and to be fair, if she's number one now is because she's played incredibly with Delphi, who has been playing amazing this whole 2025. So
up until the tournament, this latest one where she completely fell off, and you saw how upset she was from her little statement that she made as well, right? Like a lot of pressure maybe for some of the Argentinian players to make sure they can live up to their expectations of what their home supporters want. And she just couldn't live up to that basically and felt that extra pressure, which that can happen, right? But
who didn't feel the extra pressure winning at home?
Tapia.
Agustin Tapia.
Messi, as we can call him, man. It felt like
God.
Literally, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it like this. What were your expectations of the game? Because I was speaking to you a little bit before the game, and we gave each other our predictions.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this is just, I guess, because I just want to see like competitiveness and I love Coello and Tapia. They deserve everything that they get because they're incredible. Insane. They are the best, 100%.
Yeah,
no contest. This final was, was completely. Paquito Merga had nothing to do the entire game, but it really frustrates me. And I was texting Connor last night, being like, while the game was happening, Connor was like, "Dude, are you watching this?"
Dude, it was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous, and I was like, "I am so pissed."
Yeah,
like. Can these guys just stop being so good for like a second? Because I just want to see them, and they have been in this 2025, but it's not the same. I want to see them against the ropes properly in a final, in a semis, not because anyone's injured, not because whatever. I just want to see someone show up and be like, we're going to take you to the third set, whatever. Look, if Coello and Tapia win, fine, but like it's just too easy for them. It's literally too easy. What were my expectations, you ask? I knew deep down that it was going to be an easy win for the Golden Boys, but I was being like, well, maybe slow court. Yeah. There's something they can do. Fuck the slow court. Yeah. Who cares about a slow court? These guys were smashing.
All of a sudden, it was like, oh, the court's fast now.
Yeah, all of a sudden, never mind. Coello can just like
pop it out.
Tapia was calculating his smashes right at the what's it called, the vertex,
the corner of the
the corner, so that it would ping up.
He's at the back of the court smashing.
I was like, okay, well, never mind then.
No.
I guess no. I guess there's
There was one game that ended in about, I swear, like 3 minutes.
Dude,
because every shot...
They broke several of their their serves blank games.
Yeah. There you go. Like it felt like, you know, the two guys playing paddle, and they're like, how long have you been playing? It's like, oh, a couple of months. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they rock up and they get a 6-2 scoreline.
Dude.
And I was like, bro, this feels like fucking unfair a little bit, you know? Like, I mean, look, from Paquito Bergamini's perspective, fair play to get to a finals. I think there's a crazy stat. It's like 580 days.
They would have. I'm pretty sure they would have. We don't know, but I'm pretty sure they would have gone down against Chingalan in semis. They got to the final because
they dropped
Chingalan forfeited. We never know. They could have beat them. I don't think they would have.
I would put my money on Chingalan, that's for sure. But
definitely,
I mean, that's what happens.
But so it was kind of a
present,
a bit of a present. Number 1 pairing against number 7 seeds.
I mean, it's also what Coello said at the end of after they won the finals, right? I forgot who was interviewing, but one of the interviewers asked, like, you know, how important was it that you were able to gift this win to Tapia as a present, you know, so he could win at home? And he was like, that's all I wanted to do. That's all, you know, that's our mission here. And they did it to perfect execution, which was just absolutely ruthless.
I think it was
probably one of the worst games of paddle I've ever watched. Can I say that?
But a close to perfect game from
it was perfect
Coello
from them, but from a
enjoyment.
Yeah,
point
I felt like
view.
I was watching fucking Michael Jordan just dunk on like kindergarten kids for like 3 hours straight.
I don't know how you. I mean, let's just go through it a little bit. I think that the main thing was, okay, it was just an absolute domination, but it was especially from a smash point of view. For some reason, in that final, maybe temperature was a bit higher, humidity was lower or whatever, but that court on that specific time was quicker than generally the courts had been during that tournament. Right now, it's pretty cold in Argentina, pretty humid.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever. But as we were just saying, like, these guys were just popping it out, no problem, no questions asked. I do genuinely think we always talk about both of them. Tapia just being like, Mozart, just magic and just pure talent.
Yeah,
but
moments.
I mean, let's talk about Coello for a second.
Yeah,
I don't think we don't have the stats, unfortunately. If we did, we could look at it. But I genuinely like to see the unforced errors from Coello individually.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen Coello hit a ball to the net.
No.
Maybe there's like one to the mesh or to the back glass with a bat smash, but like the consistency of this guy, defensively, offensively, how he blocks the absolute bullets coming from Bergamini.
Yeah.
Not just blocks them comfortably, places them perfectly. It's a bit unfair, in my opinion.
I don't know if unfair is the right word, man.
It's a bit unfair.
Just like, you have like a AI trained model that like is just, you know, so cool and remains calm and doesn't let the pressure of the game get to him. And, you know, these are all the reasons what makes them number one, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, this is what happens when you have a tournament final where they, you know, the number ones go up against the rank 8th team, 7th team. Yeah. Like, you know, that it really shows the gap between first and even second place. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I feel like we've had a conversation in the past as well where we it wasn't choosing our favorite players, but you know, our players that we're most impressed by. You know, I remember saying Coello just because his consistency is just insane.
It's
like
unmatched.
And it goes back to those moments where maybe Tapia is not actually playing at his best.
Because he's more of a high risk, high reward, but Coello's like...
He's just like clinical, man. Like, it's just absolutely fascinating to watch, and he can carry both of them as well. And then just that odd opportunity where the ball goes to the other side of the court, and then you have Tapia there to finish it off, smashing from the back of the court. It was just insane. So to see a final like that in a tournament where the general, you know, vibes were slow court, you have to really earn each point and make each point yours, to just seeing balls fly out the court. It was kind of like, what is going on right now? You know, there's like this probably one of the most inconsistent tournaments that we've had so far.
And I think a good comparison would be like, let's say like Paquito Verga or you know, the worse version of Chingalan in terms of like Coello and Tapia
those shitty
have Chingalan sort of studied to a T. Paquito Berga being a similar-ish, understand when I say this, pairing as Chingalan, being like Bergamini is sort of like exact same play style as Chingo, being small. So it was just, and Paquito being obviously a lot less talented player than Galan, being a much weaker,
older
backhand and older in that sense.
Yeah.
The only problem is Chingalan both being at a higher level, so they struggle a bit more against Chingalan. But this was like kind of like, oh, we can sort of play the same, but Paquito won't be able to get the dunks that Galan does, and also it's just everything's just lower levels. So
they're a rough draft of Chingalan.
So basically, instead of a 6-4-7-5, which is a 6-2-6-2, the strategy was clear. Lob Berga, Coello goes to block, and then they just win the net.
It's so depressing, man. Like really, honestly, it is so depressing. But actually, what you have to give it to them. Like it is a win for them. And I know
an absolute masterclass in regaining the net from the Golden Boys.
It was.
And then at the volleys, they completely choke you out. They close the gaps really well, and you're done.
No, they're such a tough opponent. Yeah, night. Yeah, literally, dude.
Yeah.
Where's Gonza going night? I miss him saying that shit. Honestly. Yeah. But it was a strange finals, both for I say for women's too, just because. We won a little bit more. I think from the men's final, the game was 59 minutes long, which, there's sets that last an hour and a half sometimes, especially the court's faster, but it's not the fastest court on the circuit.
Yeah.
It really shows that they were just like, let's show up, finish the game, let's get our points, move on, bit of a shit tournament. Yeah. Let's forget about it. And man, like that was the tournament at the end of the day, and that's the finals that we got.
And the difference in quality as well, let me just say this, of like there was a game or a couple games where Bergamini just netted 3
in a row.
3 overheads in a row.
Yeah.
Something that Coello and Tapia have never done in their life, which just goes to show again like how consistent and talented and good they are.
No,
that they just don't make these same mistakes and you often forget about that because you see them play crazy shots and get all those smashes in, but you never stop to think like, wait, they haven't missed in like 45 minutes.
Yeah, they haven't
hit a bad ball, and you know.
This was a tournament where they just didn't feel
maybe
human.
A forced error where they literally can't get there, and it's like fine, you're not even going to count that. But like a mistake of like an unforced error.
Yeah, nothing. And they can't give it, but. Yeah. That was kind of our 2 finals there, and we'll round up our episode here. We just covered the men's and women's finals, as we were saying.
We're coming to the end of the episode now.
This might feel like an episode where we're putting a bit of a smile on, just to share our love for paddle. But definitely slightly disappointing tournament from an organization point of view. From a finals point of view as well, wasn't like the most competitive thing, as we've just said, this whole episode. But, we're here now, and we want to end it on a lighter sort of conversation and topic. Maybe there's something that if you guys are here right now, you can join in here.
Hit us with it.
And the question was going around because we're stealing it from Red Bull TV, and it was a fun little question where if you were to steal one shot, one style of shot from any player, what would the shot be and whose shot would it be?
Okay. Interesting.
Would you like a second to think about it, and I can tell you mine?
Yeah.
And this is to take from the pro level world and take it into
your arsenal,
amateur world here. And if you could steal that shot and just whip it out, it would be so sick. And for me, mine would be if I could steal. I'm not even going to name drop Coello and Tapia right now, but I want Chingotto's lobs. If I could lob like Chingotto at the back perfectly, going into the back left corner every time. If I could have a perfect lob, that's all I want, man. That's
the most important shot in the game.
And we can keep the point going. Yeah, we can say bandeja as well, but those are the 2 mature answers there. Yeah. Obviously, if you want Augsburger smash, you can go for it. But for me, I want the lob of Chingotto. If I can do that, keep the ball going and keep it in play, that's all I want. And I'd like to know yours.
So for me, I think I would go, first of all, for like effectiveness as well. But just, I think, aesthetically, it looks amazing every time he does it. I think I'd go for Yanguas's Víbora.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he puts a lot of power on that.
The jump Víbora he has, I think is sick. And really good as well. Like super, like a absolute bullet down to the corner.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, if you can nail those from your overheads, they're pretty unreturnable as well. So
and it's the height he gets on his jump, so he can hit it quite high.
Yeah.
And he can give that angle down.
The backspin too.
Yeah.
Which we'll take.
Yeah.
Fuck.
If I could run back as fast as he can and not fucking
yeah.
puke out my lungs every time, then that would be sick to have.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And let us know, you guys, well, if you could have one shot from one player, which one would it be? And maybe give us a why.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
You're down for it.
Let us know about that. But yeah, we're at the end of our episode.
We've reached the end.
We have obviously I keep referencing that it wasn't the craziest tournament ever. Maybe you could have felt that in that echo here today. But you know what? We move on because we have a lot to look forward to because it's the Rome Majors.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks' time.
And the Italians know how to do it. So
exactly. So hopefully,
excited for that.
You know, they get a bit of time to prep for this. It's a really legendary tournament. Last year, it was amazing as well. The venue itself is stunning. So hopefully it goes a little bit smoother. It's a major as well. There's only 4 of them a year. So there's a lot to look forward to as well. So, you know, also leave us your predictions for that if you think it's going to be.
And stay tuned for that because we're obviously going to review that one as well.
Exactly. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you on the next one. Peace, guys. Thank you.